Alright, Grandpa Growth back here. We're going to do a little wrap up and talk about what my impressions of the list were and what cards I liked, what cards I didn't like. Um, let's start with the mana base. I did not like. Fairy Conclave actually seemed good. I did not like the cycle lands too much. They just did not seem to be like it was too much of a cost to have them come into play tapped. So that was really annoying. Um, so I think I'm going to be cutting those. So let's get rid of those, and we'll put in. I'll probably cut those three for Forest Island, or possibly another island, possibly two islands, one forest, because it felt like I was more out of blue than I was out of green. I liked Trench Stream's fine. I don't know. We didn't get to see Alchemist's Refuge or Rogue's Passage. Ghost Quarters really our only option. Reliquary Tower obviously stays. Hall of Bandit Lord actually seemed really good. These multicolor lands, I don't like Rupture Spire, Transfield Promenade, or Growth Chamber really at all, but we don't have better options at this point. So unfortunately, I think we're gonna have to keep them. Terramorphic Expanse, Panorama, and Evolving Wilds. These are really on the deck to kind of increase the value of Brainstorm, but we have to use them so early. Like if we have one, we have to use it immediately to go get mana so we can play our early drop creatures. So I don't like these either. So I think I'm going to cut these for basics as well, which is really unfortunate. Um, what did I like? Soaring and Lightning Greaves are staying, obviously. Uh, Pitch Steel Hellcat the only time we saw it, but like it's good. It would have been good, say, in that last game against Kimba. It gives us a way to answer tokens, things like that. And it's, it's a legitimate threat. It answers a lot of the problems that this deck has. Like if they get some sort of problematic permanent or not any number of permanents in play, Steel Hellcat gives you an answer to those things profitably. Like it's good against opposing enchantments and artifacts and stuff like that. So I'm gonna keep it. Um, Whisper Soul Cloak seemed underwhelming, but it's really in the deck so you can penetrate like ground stalls, and I think it's important for that reason. Swiftfoot Boots, I was not all that impressed with, and we didn't get to see Stealth Suit. I think Stealth Suit is good just because you can kind of use it as counterspell, like being able to equip it at instant speed. Seems good, but then again, you really only ever need it on Edric, so you just slam it on Edric and don't worry about it. So that's a possible cut. We'll see if I've got anything else to put in that spot. Let's look at the one drops. I didn't like the derpy creatures. Like Windcrafter didn't seem all that great. Sage Reptier didn't seem all that great. Drown Rusalka is almost definitely getting cut. Um, what about these other cards? I like the guys that destroy enchantments and artifacts. I like the Shroud and Hexproof guys. They're pretty good. Um, I could see something like Grip Sprites coming out, Young Wolf. Like just the ground guys just don't seem that good. Cozy's Trister seems fine. Nephalia Smuggler probably coming out. It's just so much mana and it's a little too cutesy. Void Stalker we didn't get to see, but shuffle effects were good in the games we played, and they're good in Commander in general. So I think having this card is fine. Um, Looters. I've got way worse cards in my deck, so at this point, Looters are staying. Um, Sylvan Ranger was actually pretty good in those games. It helped us fix a couple of our color problems. Um, we never would have needed this creeping renaissance, and it's unlikely that like if we get to the point where we're casting this 5-drop sorcery, like we've got like infinite cards in our hand probably. this isn't really like the late game threat we want. I feel like we want something like overrun more. So I'll probably cut this for some sort of overrun effect. Um, Confiscate would have been sick in those games. Cultivate and Kodama's Reach are obviously staying. Walk the Aeons, it's not the best time walk in the world, but a deck like this wants a time walk effect, or probably more than one, but this is the only one that's cheap enough that you can really include it in a budget deck list like this. Corrupted Conscience obviously seems pretty sweet. Sleep was actually kind of crazy in the games. Like we both times we cast it, we resolved it, and it was just awesome. So I guess I'll pat myself on the back a little bit for, including Sleep kind of as my 99th card, if you will. But it really pulled some weight for us. It seemed like a great include. Uh, Peak was good. Ponder and Preordain obviously staying. Spin and Myth as another tuck effect, obviously staying. It's possible we cut this Brainstorm. I'll see if I can find some better draw effect. I really don't think there's going to be anything that we don't want to play the more expensive spells because we want to be keeping up counters like after turn 3. So we really want our card draw to cost like 1 or 2. But I'll think about it. Like especially without the shuffling lands, Brainstorm just really loses a lot of value. So that's a potential cut. I liked pretty much all the counter spells. Like even the weird ones like Foil seemed fine. I mean, Foil was actually pretty good for us. I like things like Force Spike. Like Daze effects are really strong. And if Daze is like 20 tickets or something online, but like if Daze were playable in, this kind of 10 ticket format, I would totally do it. But until then, we're on Force Spike. But I do like it. Memory Lapse, Miscalc, Unified Will were all good. Dispel seemed good. Like opposing counter spells and opposing removal, like those are the things you're typically worried about. Like once you've got an Edric down, Dispel is just the kind of perfect card for you. Hinder is obviously staying. I mean, Deprive is kind of silly, but it was sick the one time I cast it. It's obviously never going to be that good again, but I don't know. I like it. I certainly don't think it's the worst card. It is still a counterspell, and this deck doesn't need a ton of lands in play. Beyond that, I think Broken Ambitions, Syncopate, probably the worst cards, or at least the worst counterspells, but I think they're still good enough that we want them. I wish we had more 2-cost hard counters, but those unfortunately don't really exist. And we're not playing enough artifacts to support something like Stoic Rebuttal consistently, and I'm not playing Cancel, in case that was not clear. It's possible we want something like Rewind. I think that's an option. So let me dig around in the collection and see if there's I'll check some prices and see if there's some cheap options we can change out and try and improve this deck list a little bit. Alright, so we're back. This is the short list of cards that I am considering adding. So let's go over the choices here really quickly. I feel like we need more card draw, but I don't like Muldrifter because it's too expensive. This deck doesn't really want Divination. It wants things like Ponder, Preordain kind of things. So I'm considering Portent. I think Portent is a good add. I think Muldrifter is probably not. Yeah, I don't like the Drifterino here. I thought about bringing Ludwig's Test Subject. It's a not terrible win condition, but it doesn't really feed into our deck's game plan. So I don't want to bring it in here. Armillary Sphere we had a bunch of mana problems. This would help with those, but I don't think it's really the answer that we're looking for. Same goes with Dreamscape Artist, although Dreamscape Artist allows us to kind of, like, you can use it multiple times and kind of get a whole bunch of land out of your deck, and it also attacks with Edric, so that's good. Crosand Grip, like in the games we played, we didn't really see anything we felt like gripping. Like, our opponent had top and we don't care. That's usually how I deal with it. Like, if they want to spend their time doing that, I'm about it. So I don't think we're bringing in grip here. I'll hang on and talk about all the counter spells in a minute. I do feel like I want more counter spells, but it kind of depends on what. Draining Rook, Dismal Failure, yeah. Excuse me. So yeah, these are kind of options for other counter spells. Coruscant Tusker helps us fix mana. But again, I really want to be getting things that help us cast like an Edric on turn 2 or 3. And unfortunately this doesn't really do it. It does net us some card advantage, it does help fix our colors, and it does allow us to queue up counter spells. So it's a card that I kind of like. We're probably never casting this. Greenseeker is a card that I think could actually be like pretty, like, this is kind of exactly, I feel like, what I want to be doing in this deck. So Greenseeker is on like the ultra short list here. Greenseeker is probably getting in this deck. Trinket Mage, oh no, I've been disconnected. Hold while I pause. Alright, so we're back here to talk about the changes I would like to make to deck list. First, I've got these cards laid out that I know I want to cut here in the middle, and some cards I'm considering adding here over on the right. And Skysweeper and Stealth Suit, I feel like are going to be cuts, but being that I didn't get to see them at all during the games, I'm going to leave them in the deck list and give them a chance to sort of earn their spot a little bit. I guess Flying Men and Cloud Sprite kind of fall into this category. Like, they weren't great, but I could see leaving them, I could see cutting them. It's just really the availability of a better option. But let's talk about what we want to add. So, first card, definitely, like, Creeping Renaissance is just out. I don't think our deck really ever wants this kind of effect. Like, obviously we can draw a ton of guys late in the game, but they're all still going to be crappy 1/1s. It's not really going to help us too much. So Overrun is in. Nephalia Smuggler and Drown Rusalka. I want to keep the number of 1-drops pretty high, but I think that I think Smuggler is just kind of too cute and doesn't really do what you really want it to do. Young Wolf as well, like, it's just a ground guy. I realize it's 2 bodies, but it just does not seem that great. So I'm gonna cut those 3 1-drops and add Hapless Researcher, which is another kind of like derpy creature, but unlike Drowned Rusalka, you draw first before discarding, so like it's potential loot instead of kind of a rummage effect. Greenseeker, as I was talking about before, but I got cut off, seems really awesome in this deck. Seems exactly like what we want to be doing. Helps fix our mana right from turn 1, and we always have a bunch of weird, like, random crap we can discard. No big deal. So those are in. We'll see how long Hapless Researcher lasts. One card that I couldn't find in my collection that I do want to add is a Sakura Tribe Scout. It basically does the same thing as this, although it might only allow you to put basic lands in. But anyway, I couldn't find one of those. But as soon as I get my hands on one, that will definitely be going in the deck as another way to cast turn 2 Edric. So Swiftfoot Boots, pretty silly. So the real question is, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be cutting at least one of these. So probably Cloud Sprite is going to be the first to go. So we've got, I guess, 2 spots open. I would love to add a Garruk. Unfortunately, I don't think we can really support it with like the 10 ticket restriction. So that's unfortunate. Copperhorn Scout is something to keep in mind. We don't really need it for now, I don't think. Yeah, just not that exciting. Draining Welk is like a top-end counterspell that gives us a huge flyer late in the game to kind of end the game, but I really prefer to keep the converted mana cost down. Like, we very rarely got to 6 mana in like close games, so that's not really something I want. I want a cheaper counterspell if possible, and I want more card draw. So let's look at what is potentially in those categories. As far as counterspells go, we've got Spell Pierce and Remand. I don't think Negate's gonna make it in this round of cuts. It's possible we want something like Negate, but Spell Pierce just seems better for right now at least. And Logic Knot rather. Logic Knot and Remand are probably gonna be the first two cards to get in here. Portent is kind of like a Ponder, but slightly old school. But we do want more card draw to kind of smooth out our draws, and I think that's going to be good. I don't think we need Capsize right now. Compulsion is a way to lets you cycle cards, sort of. Yeah, I don't think we want that. Evolution Charm. Good utility card and helps us fix our mana again. But I don't think that's really what we want. I ruled out the option of having a Armillary Sphere for sort of some kind of like mana fixing option. Alright, so what am I bringing in here? I think we're definitely bringing in Remand. We're at 106 cards now, so we have to cut 7 cards. I don't really like Flying Men. I'm over it already. Expedition Map seems pretty slow, but it is a colorless fixer. I decided I'm not bringing in the Trinket Mage, so I don't think Map is what we really want. Pognify, it'd be nice to have a removal spell, somewhere, floating around somewhere in the deck that we can use. To help protect us against things like Kimba or, like the Joyror we saw. If it's just slam one of those guys in play, we can sort of have an efficient way to answer it. Evolution Charm, I think, is out. Dreamscape Artist, I do really like Dreamscape Artist. And Dreamscape Artist is kind of like a Simic Signet that attacks. It'll eventually get us up a mana, and it fixes our colors. Yeah, I don't want Simic Signet. I'd rather have Dreamscape Artist. So we need to cut 3 cards here. I've never actually main decked a Sleight of Hand yet. I always think about main decking it just because, Ponder and Preordain are so good, Brainstorm's so good, like, it's probably the worst kind of these effects. Well, I guess it's better than Serum Visions, but yeah, that's just too far down the totem pole. I don't really think I want that. 2 more cuts? This is tough. Yeah, I think it's gotta be, well, no, maybe Skysweeper's gotta be one of them. Like, we just don't really want Skysweeper. But from the rest of these, oh man, I want to try out Stealth Suit. Like, I want to get to play with the card at least once. Portent, you're definitely in. Dreamscape Artist, you're definitely in. So we can narrow it down a little bit here. So I think it's gonna be. Let's assume I'm not cutting Stealth Suit yet. But I'd rather have more counterspells or a Pognify. I think I'd rather have the Pognify. Okay, so the last card I'm going to cut, I think, is Logic Knot. I realize it's an unrestricted counter, whereas Spell Pierce is restricted, but it's just so good at what it does. It's so efficient. Like, it helps us resolve our spells when they have counters. It helps our counters stick against opposing blue decks. It's just really powerful. It's it's good against planeswalkers. It's good against artifact mana acceleration. Um, yeah, it's a pretty sweet card. So yeah, that is the deck. That is how I'm keeping it for now, at least. Yeah, added a few more counter spells. Hopefully smoothed out the mana and got a few less tap land going. Oh yeah, and I took out the three cycle lands and the three sacrifice lands and just put in basics. I was considering bringing in a homeward path, but just like Garrick, that would put me over the 10 ticket limit. So yeah, I'm much happier with how this is now. This deck looks a lot better than what I had before. So yeah, we'll be back sometime in the near future with a few more games. This has been Grandpa Growth with the General Zone, bringing you some ill-gotten games. Thanks for watching.